YouTube just released a massive update that changes what kind of hashtags you should be using, how many of them you should be using, and where you should be placing them. And if you mess up either of those three things right now on YouTube, it's going to destroy the reach that you're getting because hashtags now matter more than they used to. In fact, I just helped this channel gain over 100,000 subscribers and this channel over 200,000 subscribers. And the only thing that they did was change what kind of hashtags they were using, where they were putting them, and one other thing I'm going to share with you towards the end of this video. So the first hashtag strategy you need to make sure that you're using is going to be one niche specific hashtag and then hashtag shorts. Now you should only be using this if you're uploading a short video on YouTube. I'm going to share with you the difference between long form content and short form content and what hashtags and tags you should be using because they are totally different. But the first thing that you need to know is that that's the first hashtag strategy. In addition to that, you need to understand the difference between niche specific hashtags and then broad hashtags. Broad hashtags are going to be things like hashtag shorts, something like hashtag fitness, something like hashtag finance or hashtag cooking, and then niche specific are going to be specific to whatever you're actually posting about. For example, let's say that you were cooking a chicken recipe, you would put hashtag chicken recipe or hashtag dinner recipe. That is going to be more niche specific and be way more actually specific to the content that you're creating. Now, when it comes to those really broad hashtags, you want to use ones that are broad, but they should also make sense for what you're posting about, and ideally, they should be the largest thing. In addition to that, your niche specific hashtags should be hyper specific, but also the largest that you could actually choose. When you go to type in a hashtag on YouTube, it will actually show you how many videos have been made to it and how many times it's been used. You want to make sure that it's the most popular one because essentially what's happening is that YouTube is seeing what kind of content people have interacted with before in the past and then showing them content that looks like that in the future. So if your content looks like the other posts that were posted under the hashtag you put on your video and a lot of people interacted with it, guess what ends up happening? You end up getting a lot of views. Now, before we get into hashtag strategy number 2, I wanted to show you where you should be placing your tags on YouTube because there are actually two places that you need to be worrying about this. Okay, now there are two different places that you need to make sure that you are placing your tags. The first one is going to be your channel tags on YouTube, and these are incredibly important. In order to actually access these, you need to come into your YouTube studio, you need to come over here, click on channel, and then you are going to see keywords right here. Now, what I would strongly suggest that you do is I would do two things. One, put broad keywords in here, and then secondly, put some competitors in here. So what you can do is you could take a screenshot of this. I'm going to leave this up on the screen right now for a second. Take a screenshot of this and then come over to ChatGPT. And then what I want you to do is I want you to put this screenshot in here and say, these are the tags someone is using in the AI niche. It contains keywords for AI and 3 of their competitors. Please do this for my niche, and then you could put in here what your niche is. For example, I'm going to put my niche vegan cooking. Now what this is going to do is this is literally going to go through now, and this is going to create tags for you based off of the tags that I used. And again, this channel that I'm doing this from has absolutely blown up. Now look, this is literally going through, this is giving you the perfect tags in order to use for your channel if you're in the vegan cooking niche. Now obviously, you're probably not in the vegan cooking niche, so you would do this for your niche, but then you would come in here, you would just put these tags in here. You want to fill up about 480 at least, or 490 out of 500, and this is going to increase the odds that YouTube actually finds the right content for your videos. In addition to that, if we come over here, we could filter by views over here, and I'm going to show you what I did in some of my most viewed videos. So this video right here got 50,000 views in less than a week. If we come over here and we come in here, we're going to see the video tags that I put in here. So you're going to notice a few things. First and foremost, if we come over here, we do control find, type in ChatGPT, we're going to see that ChatGPT shows up in the title. ChatGPT shows up 3 times in the description. ChatGPT shows up 1 time in the file name, but it shows up also at least 5 times in the tags on this video. Now I need to reload this quick. For some reason YouTube hasn't been loading this up lately, and if we come down here, we're going to see these tags. This is the second type of tags you need to be placing, and as we can see here, it shows up almost a dozen times in here. You need to make sure that you're filling up these tags 450 or more out of 500 characters, and it needs to be a bunch of things people would search for when they're looking for the title of your video. And again, you need to have alignment between the file name on your content, the title, the description, and the tags. What that does is gives you the perfect amount of metadata for YouTube to actually show your content to the right people. Now this brings me to hashtag strategy number 2, which is going to be just 2 niche specific hashtags. And remember, when you put your hashtags on your content, they should come at the end of your title and they should be never bigger than your title. I see so many small channels mess this up on YouTube. They put a really small title and then a bunch of really long hashtags. What that does is decrease the odds that YouTube actually pushes out your content. In addition to that, you should make sure that you never use more than 3 hashtags, because only the first 3 hashtags are going to be counted by YouTube, and anything that you do after that is just going to be a waste of space. Now there is still one other hashtag strategy that you need to make sure that you're using, and there's also a few more mistakes that I need to make sure that you're not making, like where you should actually be placing your hashtags. But before we get into those, I wanted to show you how you could spy on your competitors on YouTube, because in addition to hashtags, spying on your competitors is going to allow you to blow up your channel, like how I just started a brand new channel on YouTube, getting over 45,000 subscribers. It was simply because I was doing this. Check it out. Now, to make spying on your competitors as easy as humanly possible on YouTube, I love to use Metricool. Because all you have to do is come into Metricool, scroll down to your competitors, and boom, you could add in all your different competitors and check to see exactly what posts are getting them the most views. This is instantly going to tell you what type of content you should be creating, what topics you should be creating about, what length you should be creating, and basically what is trending within your niche. And you can get started with Metricool today with 30 days free access to any of their premium plans at the pinned comment below. On top of that, Metricool also makes it incredibly easy for you to be able to view your analytics all from one place, so you know what type of content is making you the most money, getting you the most views, or growing your channel the most. So what are you waiting for? If you want to grow faster on YouTube, you want to get more subscribers, more views, and you want to make more money from YouTube, you'd be a fool to not be using Metricool. Go to the pinned comment below and get started today for free with code Robert. So when it comes to where you should actually be pushing your hashtags, this is going to drastically change depending on what kind of content you're creating. Let me explain. Okay, now where you place your hashtags, whether you're uploading long form content or shorts content, is going to drastically change. If you are uploading the long form content, never put the hashtags in your title. That is not where they should go. Instead, they should go at the end of your description here. We can see at the end, I put hashtag next to this clip. So let's say I also made a video about the YouTube algorithm. I might type in something like YouTube algo, and then we could see all the different things to pop up here. And again, if we look at this right here, 35,000 channels, 118K videos. This is the largest one under this. So this is what I would want to use if that is what the video is actually about. So we would do that right here with a long form piece of content. If we're uploading a short piece of content, we could come over here, we could see that you just put the hashtags in the title. So again, to break this down, incredibly easy. Uploading long form content, put the hashtags at the end of your description, maximum of 3. If you are uploading shorts content, put them at the end of your title, also a maximum of 3 hashtags. And as a reminder, please make sure you are not making these 4 big mistakes when it comes to hashtags on YouTube. First and foremost, never use more than 3 hashtags. YouTube literally has in their guidelines that if you use more than 3 hashtags, it is only going to hurt you because they aren't going to look at them. Secondly, never put irrelevant hashtags in your video. Guess what this does? It gets YouTube to show your content to the wrong people. And that is the last thing that you want to happen, trust me. Because if that happens on YouTube, it is going to destroy your reach and it could end up hurting your channel, because then what happens is the wrong people get shown your content, YouTube doesn't think your videos are good, and then they stop pushing out your content. Third, and a reminder, you need to make sure that the hashtags you put are not longer than your title and that they always come at the end of your title. Never in the beginning, never in the middle, never in some random place in your description. And then also, you need to make sure that you aren't using small hashtags. I cannot emphasize this enough. Small hashtags in your posts are going to lead to getting low views. Only use hashtags that actually get a lot of views, and please make sure you're checking whether or not YouTube actually has an audience for your content before you start creating. Here's how you do this. Now, in order to actually find that ideal audience for your content, here's what you need to do. You need to come over into your analytics right here. We're going to come over here into trends. And then what you are going to do is type in whatever you were about to post about. For example, let's say that I was going to post about the YouTube algorithm. I'd come over here, I would type in YouTube algorithm, and this would show me whether or not it has high interest. If I do not see very high interest from my viewers, or more importantly, you don't see that when you do a search for this, that is a sign you should not post about about whatever you are going to be posting about. And you should come over to these other top searches here, and you want to take into consideration what has high volume. Only do things with high volume. If it has low volume, ignore it. If it has medium volume, ignore it. Why? Because you don't want low views and you don't want medium views, you want high views. And best part is if you come into content gaps right here, and this doesn't always happen, if you could find one that says high volume and has a content gap, that is a sign that if you make a post about that topic or that format or that whatever, that keyword, it could potentially go viral on YouTube. Now, hashtag strategy number 3 is just going to be using one broad hashtag. If you're uploading a short, I would recommend putting hashtag shorts. If you're uploading a long form video, I would recommend just having a very large hashtag or a very broad hashtag for your niche that should be less specific. For example, things like hashtag fitness, hashtag finance, hashtag cooking, hashtag recipe, things like that. And again, I did want to remind you, hashtags really matter on YouTube, but what also matters is the metadata that you're putting in your title, putting in your descriptions, putting in your tags. YouTube is going to be looking at all these things to determine whether or not they should push out your content. If you want to work together one-on-one to grow faster on YouTube, the same way that I hope this channel get over 100,000 subscribers and this channel get over 200,000 subscribers, well, I'd strongly suggest that you check out this video right here that walks you through exactly how we can work together one-on-one so I can guarantee you grow faster on YouTube. That sounds interesting? I'll see you over there.